The effects of climate change, land degradation and the COVID-19 pandemic are hitting hard, especially African rural populations. Recent FAO statistics show that poverty, hunger and malnutrition in Africa are growing again. 281.6 million Africans are undernourished. Agricultural policies in many African countries center around a green revolution productivity model, without giving enough attention to small-scale farmers and the solutions that they have to offer. The recent COP26 event in Glasgow has committed to reduce deforestation and reduce emissions. Agriculture is key in the fight against climate change. Smallholder farmers believe and are continuing to fight for a truly sustainable agricultural system and agroecology. However, agroecological systems play a vital role in curbing climate change issues because they work with nature to protect biodiversity and the environment. There is a need to focus and provide real support for agroecology and agroforestry in order to scale them up and make the food and farming system truly sustainable.
ESA views agroecology as a sustainable, holistic and cost-effective approach, harmony with ecosystems, and also preserves permaculture local conditions and resilient to climate change. In ESAF, we say agroecology covers crops and livestock production, agroforestry, and it integrates landscapes and natural resources management, including water and biodiversity. It produces food, fiber, raw materials, and ecological services sustainably and good for human health.
On the 26th of November 2021, ESA facilitated a virtual event, a dialogue on agroecology as a potentially transformative approach to equitable and climate-resilient agricultural development in Western, Eastern, Central and Southern Africa. The webinar brought together a total of 293 participants from over 20 countries, which included smallholder farmers from across the continent, international funders, and civil society organizations. The webinar created a platform for participants to learn about small-scale farmer organizations and their inspiring work on the front lines of climate change, how agroecology guides their work, and what international donors and other civil society organizations can do to support farmers and agroecology as a way to achieve climate justice and resilience.
This webinar is part of a series that intends to offer learning opportunities on the meaningful work grassroots organizations are already doing around the world. We would like to open this space to listen directly to the field, learn together, and create opportunities for collective action.
Through this platform, smallholder farmers elaborated on the importance of agroecology in Africa and came out with resolutions which included the importance of having and putting in place the farmer-managed seed system, which enables farmers to preserve their indigenous seeds. This will ensure seed sovereignty, enhance participatory action research, training of actors, and sharing knowledge with different practitioners.
Convenings, our key objectives are really to firstly understand the experiences of small-scale farmers who've been dealing with a number of challenges, from the climate crisis to the COVID-19 pandemic. How can we support small-scale and smallholder farmers? The second objective is really to unpack how, by adopting a systemic approach such as agroecology, how can it facilitate our transition, the just transition within the region, and ensure that we are adopting transformative agriculture and food systems.
FAO defines agroecology as a holistic and integrated approach that simultaneously applies ecological and social concepts and principles to the design and management of sustainable agriculture and food systems. In 2018, FAO launched the Scaling Up Agroecology Initiative to accompany and support national agroecology transition processes through policy and technical capacity. The intent was to build a sustainable agriculture and food system. The 10 elements of agroecology include diversity. Diversification is key to agroecological transitions to ensure food security and nutrition while conserving, protecting, and enhancing natural resources. Co-creation and sharing of knowledge. Agricultural innovations respond better to local challenges when they are co-created through participatory processes. Synergies. Building synergies enhances key functions across food systems, supporting production and multiple ecosystem services. Efficiency. Innovative agroecological practices produce more using less external resources. Recycling. More recycling means agricultural production with low economic and environmental costs. Resilience. Enhanced resilience of people, communities and ecosystems is key to sustainable food and agricultural systems. Human and social values. Protecting and improving rural livelihoods, equity and social well-being is essential for sustainable food and agricultural systems. Culture and food traditions. By supporting healthy, diversified and culturally appropriate diets, agroecology contributes to food security and nutrition while maintaining the health of ecosystems. Responsible governance. Sustainable food and agriculture requires responsible and effective governance mechanisms at different scales, from local to national to global. And finally, circular and solidarity economy. Circular and solidarity economies that reconnect producers and consumers provide innovative solutions for living within our planetary boundaries while ensuring the social foundation for inclusive and sustainable development.
Agroecological farms, they generated higher economic values, they produced more, created more wealth and generated higher levels of income. At the same time, there are environmental benefits, mainly through increased soil health and biodiversity, and also social benefits such as better nutrition, women empowerment, and an active engagement of youth.
Agroecology can play a key role in achieving climate justice and the need of transitioning the food system to agroecology. It can play a major role in fighting climate change and fostering the achievement of the global goals.
We all know how vital it is on the need of transforming our agriculture and food systems so they work while complementing the natural nature. It is important that we change the way we do agriculture to achieve the Malabo goal commitment to ending hunger in Africa by 2025 and the Sustainable Development Goal of zero hunger by 2030.
With the increasing impact of climate change, it is inevitable to transition to agroecology because the agroecological farming systems protect the environment and the climate. Elizabeth Mpofu is a small-scale farmer from Zimbabwe.
We witnessed that this is the only way to produce good, healthy food, to take care of our soils, to take care of the Mother Earth. Our organic manure to enrich our soils. We are also practicing water conservation techniques because in most of our parts, especially here in Masvingo, which is region 4, we receive very minimal rainfall, which is maybe 400 mils per year.
Ms. Mpofu said that small-scale farmers are also preserving indigenous seeds to ensure seed sovereignty as part of promoting agroecology in the country. She shared an example of the seed banks that are in their communities that promote seed diversity.
You can see in this room, I have a display of my local seeds, which I also use. I've also constructed a seed bank so that these seeds will not get lost again.
Ms. Mpofu called on donors and partners to invest in the transition to agroecology, especially on setting up the relevant infrastructures to support the transition to agroecology. Ms. Irene Nakijoba is a small-scale farmer from Uganda. She explains how she uses natural ways to grow food with many benefits like conservation of nature and the ecosystem.
Agroecology is a practice where we use natural methods of practicing of growing food and other products from soil. We use natural methods such as the organic manure, planting trees, ecosystem, digging trenches.
Agroecology is a cost-effective production of healthy food, hence healthy people. She further said that conventional agriculture is harmful because it kills nature and the soil. She shared an example of her animals dying out of consuming chemicals that were being sprayed on her neighbor's farm. Ms. Nakijoba called on the government and other stakeholders to support small-scale farmers through trainings and resources to transition.
Donors and governments should support small-scale farmers organizations who are dealing with farmers at the grassroots to train them how to go about with this practice and approach.
Climate scenarios for West Africa indicate that the climate variability currently experienced is likely to increase and intensify. Precipitation levels and patterns could change in coastal areas. Sea levels will rise with increasing temperatures, which will pose a threat to coastal regions and ecosystems. Mr. Musa discussed the challenges of agroecology in the advent of climate change in West Africa.
The challenge of the current system, access to organic inputs and farmer seeds, climate change, dependency on rain-fed, deforestation, soil erosion, land tenure system, access to finance, market, limited public investment, technology adaptation to climate change for rational water management, agri-food processing using solar dryers. Agriculture is sometimes perceived as backward and reserved for poor population, low productivity, loss of biodiversity, food insecurity, social, economic, health, and political instability, youth migration, that's in terms of labor, population pressure, that's rural urban migration, and a policy incoherence and the political will. Particularly on the policy incoherence, we have found situations where different policies speak from different directions, and that has been a very big challenge in trying to see how we can harmonize these policies and get them work as we would all prefer. Rather, you have one policy that will support agroecology and the next policy would support something that is very different from agroecology.
AFSA has done surveys on food systems in 23 countries and organized food system dialogues that have shown that most of the countries still have food which is enough and policies aren't being implemented. One cannot understand agroecology without understanding the Green Revolution. Characteristics of the Green Revolution include adaptation of new improved varieties, application of new agricultural techniques and technologies like irrigation, mechanization, and use of agrochemicals, which, among other things, focuses on few and market value crops. The Green Revolution has indebted farmers who have lost their properties and migrated to cities. New monocrops faced resistance to pests and weeds. The Green Revolution has then resulted in an ecological disaster, nutrition and health crisis, and cultural erosion.
The agroecology leads to higher yields in productivity. That means, if you have high yields, substantial income. Soil fertility, which is very much important. And we are talking about the climate crisis now. So agroecological lands sequester a lot of carbon and it's great for adaptation. Food is culturally appropriate because we grow what we eat. It's not only one crop, marketable crop only. Increased in crop diversity, which is central to the resilience of people, and food production and distribution is under the control of farmers. This is the basics of food sovereignty. So agroecology works.
The webinar was hosted on Zoom and broadcasted on social media and YouTube on the ESAF HQ channel. Agroecology is the only way to make agriculture resilient and involves small-scale farmers in having power over the food system. Smallholder farmers should have ownership of the production system and market. It is about time now for partners to take actions together to promote sustainable agriculture and act wisely and enhance collaboration between small-scale farmers and other partners.
From speakers and in the chat from the audience will of course also be captured and synthesized and be part of our knowledge base I was talking about, and of course also shared with all participants afterwards.
This webinar was organized by ESAF and supported by the Climate Justice Just Transition Donor Collaborative.